Good evening to all and welcome. It's good to see everybody here tonight. We got a great crowd again this month, so we always appreciate that. We go to great lengths to make certain these meetings are cordial and pleasant and positive, so we do appreciate a good turnout. And this Poquoson City Council meeting is now called to order, and we'll move on to item B on the agenda, which is the invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led tonight by Councilman Kerry Freeman.
Stand, please. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to meet as an elected council. Please guide us and direct us. Help us to work together, respect and understanding, striving for the common good of our city. We ask our military, especially those deployed, and first responders who serve our city. In your name.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ladies and gentlemen, item C on our agenda is a proclamation in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Month. So if I could ask Miss Jessica Adams to join me at the podium, please, we will take care of that. Jessica, good evening.
Good evening.
Pleasure to see you here tonight.
You as well.
And just a brief Poquoson story. One of the things that I love so much about this community is the personal relationships that we share, and so many of those are generational. And I can remember when Jessica and her brother Carl were just little kids, and back when I was in high school, Jessica's granddaddy, Mr. Bob Whitewood, he worked at the shipyard, but he had a roofing business on the side. And I remember one Saturday I had the privilege of helping him put a roof on a house. So that was pretty cool. And I also remember Miss Sylvia, or her grandmother, making cakes for special occasions. Mm-hmm. And Jessica is a professional educator right here in Poquoson City Schools at the primary school.
That's right.
So,
Thank you.
And her father and her uncle were both retired Poquoson firefighters, as well as her great uncle.
That's right. That's
yes.
right. Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of close ties. So this is a proclamation in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas the City of Poquoson applauds the Exchange Club of Poquoson for its dedicated work in the prevention of child abuse in our community, and whereas the City of Poquoson commends the Exchange Club of Poquoson for its promotion of ongoing programs in our community which are designed to help prevent child abuse, and whereas the City of Poquoson stands firmly on the side of prevention of any type of abuse and believes no child should endure verbal, emotional, or physical abuse for any reason, and whereas the National Exchange Club adopted the prevention of child abuse as its national project in 1979 in response to a request by its national president who, as a physician, noticed an increase in child abuse cases in his medical practice. Since then, April has been designated as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the City of Poquoson supports and encourages all of our residents and community leaders to wear blue each Monday in April in observance of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Now therefore, I, David A. Hucks, Mayor of the City of Poquoson, Virginia, do hereby proclaim the month of April to be Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of Poquoson in recognition of our commitment to healthy, happy children and to help eliminate child abuse in our community and to support the efforts of the Poquoson Exchange Club and all others who observe this important cause in their mission to bring awareness of this tragic problem to the forefront and to help make our community a stronger and more loving city where children will be able to grow and thrive without fear of harm. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Poquoson, Virginia, to be affixed this 13th day of April, 2026.
Thank you.
Jessica, thank you.
Yes.
Not only for this, but for all the great things the Exchange Club does in Poquoson. And we're so fortunate to have so many community groups like the Exchange Club that contributes to the greater good.
Thank you.
So it takes all of us working together.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Am I able to give just a slight research behind it like we normally do? Is that okay?
Please do.
Thank
It
you.
wouldn't be the
It
same.
will only be a second.
Wouldn't be the same if you didn't.
Perfect. All right.
Y'all can come back and see us again.
That's right. Next year we'll do it again.
That's
That's right.
right.
That's right. Thank you, Mayor Hux. Child Abuse Prevention Month has been observed across the country in April since its first presidential proclamation in 1979. Since that time, millions of Americans have participated in a variety of exciting public awareness activities. It is the Poquoson Exchange and Excel, our high school club's national project. Each year, April is designated as Child Abuse Prevention Month by the mayor of our city of Poquoson in a proclamation that initiates numerous projects throughout the city. Pinwheels for Prevention. Pinwheels are fast becoming the national symbol for child abuse and neglect prevention. The pinwheel represents our hope that every child will be raised in a healthy, safe, and nurturing environment. It is also a call to action encouraging people everywhere to recognize that children are our future and that we have a role to play in keeping them safe. Understanding this, the Exchange Club of Poquoson is endeavoring to paint Poquoson blue during April, with blue and silver pinwheel gardens located throughout the city. You may have noticed them. Each year, we expand the number of gardens. In the past couple of years, we have expanded to all 4 schools, local churches, and both entrances to the city. Each of our new gardens contain at least 25 pinwheels and a small yard sign designating our club. The Exchange Club provides them pinwheels, plants them, and removes them at the end of the month. And we'd like to thank you for assisting us with this year's campaign to paint Poquoson blue. And please reach out to me with any suggestions or questions. So on behalf of the Exchange Club of Poquoson, from the Child Abuse Prevention Committee chairs, Jessica Adams, and also Rachel Marney, and the rest of the Exchange Club of Poquoson who is here today with me. So thank you, Mayor Hux, and the rest of the board.
Freeman,
Yes.
if y'all like to get a group picture.
Sure, that would be great, Councilman Freeman. Would you like to do that now or later or what?
If y'all want to come on up,
Come on up, guys.
we can do it right now.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Thank y'all for being here.
I'm sure you will get announced.
Where you want to be?
You have one of these ones? I don't know.
Oh, picture. Thank you.
Thanks again to the Poquoson Exchange Club. And with that, we will move on to item D on the agenda, is our audience for visitors. And at this time, we will open the floor for public comment related to the city for anything other than the public hearing, which will have an opportunity for public comment a little bit later in the evening when we get down to item F on the agenda. So the floor is now open for public comment. Okay, well, seeing none, we will close the floor and we'll move on to item E, approval of the minutes of the regular session of March 23rd, 2026. Do we have a motion and a second?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Christie, call for a vote, please.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard, Mayor Hubbs.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Christie. All right, now we are at item F, the public hearing. This is for a resolution to approve or deny a conditional use permit for the operation of a whole house short-term rental to be located at 428 With Creek Road, tax map parcel 27-04-00-0001, zone B2 business commercial. And this is located between Alpha Street and Little Florida Road on the east side of With Creek. And we'll now open the public hearing. And Mr. Wiley Horton, our Director of Community Development, has a presentation. After that, we'll have an opportunity for council members to ask questions or make comments, and then we will open the floor for public comment. So, Wiley, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, staff, citizens either here or at home. Welcome. Thank you. This is a short-term rental. You may remember we did some work on short-term rentals about a year ago. And short-term rentals, the whole house, are allowed in B2 by conditional use permit only. This is the actual site, and I will endeavor to. This is the short-term rental that was passed about, I don't know, several years ago, I guess. This is the Metro. This is the empty Rite Aid building, and that is the McDonald's building right there. So that's where it's located, pretty much in the heart of our central business district. Notices were sent out to the daily press on April 1st and April 8th, and letters were mailed to the adjoining property owners on April the 1st. The applicant's proposal, again, it is fully furnished, short-term rental. He is going to have noise and emergency notices placed prominently within the house. Trash receptacles are going to be located on the left side of the garage. Trash pickup is going to be by Poquoson Public Service. The permit information form states that 8 parking spaces are available. Staff count 6. We'll get to that in a moment in the conditions. Check-in and check-out processes will be designed to be executed remotely. There will be cleaning, maintenance, and enforcement officials available for the site. The lodging, as I said before, will be fully furnished and outfitted. Property is zone B2, as we've covered. B2 allows a wide range of commercial, business, and service type businesses. Short-term rentals are not specifically called out, but as Appendix E, which we worked on last year, points out, they are allowed by conditional use permit. So that's why we're here with the conditional use permit tonight. Comprehensive plan considerations. Comprehensive plan does not specifically call out short-term rentals, but the fact of the matter is this is in a central business use, and there is a popularity among the public for these type uses. So, from a very general outlook, it would be a very appropriate use for this location. Now, this is that's actually a survey of the property drawn to scale. Any site plan will be drawn to scale as well. But short-term rental, traffic and access. The Planning Commission did recommend approval 5-0 of this particular application. However, there was a fair amount of discussion at that planning commission meeting about drainage requirements and how the parking would work with that. I believe in your conditional use permit memo, you've got a rendition of what the planning commission looked at. I want to concentrate primarily on what you're looking at tonight. Mr. Howard did come in and meet with staff several days after the planning commission hearing, looking at ways to reduce his impervious area and to improve drainage. I talked to Mr. Phelan, our city engineer, Ms. Noose, and Ken Somerset, our building official, and myself were in that meeting, along with Mr. Howard, who's here tonight, by the way. There is going to be room for 6 vehicles. It's going to be sort of a, I guess you'd say, a semicircular type drive. The entrance on the right side, right here, will be a new entrance going into the property. He's got room to park as many as 4 cars in that semicircular area and 2 more cars in the concrete driveway. So he will be able to meet his parking requirements. And it's also a more residential look. It's less of an industrial look than what the Planning Commission looked at. As I mentioned before, he will be required to do a site plan. It will be required to be drawn to scale, and he'll have to address drainage concerns, as we go. So, the Planning Commission did vote, as I mentioned before, 5-0 to approve the request with the or recommend approval of the request with the following conditions. The business will be subject to all applicable taxes as determined by the Commissioner of Revenue, to include a transient occupancy tax at the time of implementation. All signage is subject to architectural review. The use must comply with all aspects of this application with the exception of parking, which will be required to be compliant with condition 7 below. Basically what that's going to say is a minimum of 5 parking spaces and 1 per unit, so total of 6. The use must comply with all local, state, and federal permits, licenses, and regulations, site plan among them. If at any time this use is operating in violation of any of the regulations set forth by the aforementioned agencies, the City Council may revoke the permit. If at any time the specified use becomes inactive for a period of 2 years or more, again, this permit will become null and void. At no time shall more than 2 persons per bedroom occupy the dwelling. Parking for the use shall be accommodated for on-site in a paved driveway and or parking area as approved by the community development staff. This is where the site plan comes in. Parking spaces shall be provided, and I put in red because there was a planning commission addition, at a rate of a minimum of 1 per unit and 1 per bedroom. This one's a mouthful. No parking of major recreational equipment, including but not limited to travel trailers, utility trailers, pickup campers or coaches, motorized dwellings, tent trailers, boats and boat trailers, houseboats, or other similar equipment normally used for recreational purposes shall be conducted in front of the building line. City Council does reserve the right to review and amend the conditions of this permit as they see fit. And condition number 10 was added to in response to some neighbor concerns. A 6-foot in height above grade privacy fence shall be erected along the rear property line. That is my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Question. Are these the same property owners for the property next door?
The adjoining properties, you mean?
Property owners of
Oh,
this?
yeah. These are the same
ones?
people that operate the one at 430. Back then we called them tourist homes. Yeah.
Council members, any other questions for Wally?
No, my question had been around the parking and how that was resolved, and you took care of that. You explained it very well. Thank you, Wally.
Thank you.
Any others from council members? Mr. Freeman?
Yeah, the other rental property has been, 3 or 4 years, I don't remember exactly. And as far as I'm aware, we've never had any problem with it. So I'm sure this one will be the same way.
That's what I'm thinking as well. In about January of 2023, I had personal knowledge that as soon as the next door property came available as a short-term rental, the very next week there was a family in Poquoson that was in dire need of a place to go, and this short-term rental served the purpose. It allowed them to stay in Poquoson. It allowed their kids to be in Poquoson, who was obviously in school down here, and take advantage of the transportation that the school system provides. If this short-term rental would not have been there, it's a good possibility they would have had to move out of town. So it's certainly a demand for it, and serves a good purpose. And like Mr. Freeman had just commented on and confirmed by the manager, I mean, we've had no negative issues at all with the unit next door. So the best predictor of future performance is past performance.
I do have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So, definition of a short-term rental. How long can someone rent in a short-term rental?
From 1 to 30 days.
1 to 30 days. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, well, anything else, council members? Okay, at this time, we'll open the floor for public comment. Seeing none, we will close the floor. And Wally, thank you very much. Well done on your presentation. And with that, do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose a resolution to approve a conditional use permit for the operation of a whole house short-term rental to be located at 428 With Creek Road, tax map parcel 27-04-00-0001, zone E2, business commercial.
Thank you. Christie, call for a vote, please.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting.
Aye.
Mayor Hooks.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6 to 0.
Thank you, Christie. And with that, we will close the public hearing, and we will move on to item G, new business. We have 4 topics tonight. The first topic is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2026 in the general fund for the Virginia Fire Services Board mini grant funding for the fire department. And we have with us tonight a newly promoted Deputy Fire Chief, Mr. Chris Wolkowicz. He's going to give us a presentation. Welcome, Chris.
So, as far as the hoods go, which are particulate blocking, it blocks cancer. The old hoods we used to wear back in the day, they're single layer, sometimes double layer. And all the carcinogens we get from fires would go through, especially when they weren't washed. So now with the new type of technology, NFPA standards, last year made a requirement for when we hand out these new hoods, they must be particulate blocking. So with this grant and this money, we're going to be able to not only get everyone a first set, but also get some of the volunteers and ourselves the second set to stop us from or prevent cancer as much as we can. Right now, they are the more expensive types, and with the $3,821 that we've been awarded, will get us approximately 30. So, and we have 33 firemen, and several of our firemen already have too, so we'll be able to help out the volunteers and ourselves. So,
Deputy Chief, y'all certainly have some talented grant writers. And,
Yeah.
y'all have saved the citizens countless tens of thousands of dollars over the years. So thanks so much for your efforts with that and among so many other things. And council members, any questions for the deputy chief? Very well. Chris, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the ordinance making additional appropriations for the fiscal year 2026 in the general fund, Virginia Fire Services Board mini grant funding for the fire department.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that? Christie?
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting? Aye. Mayor Hooks?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, thank you, Christie. Moving on to topic number 2 under new business. We have an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 26 in the capital project fund for the Messick Point Breakwater. And we have with us tonight our brand new city engineer, Mr. Paul Phelan. Mighty thankful to have him working with us, and he's going to give us a presentation on this topic. So welcome, Paul.
Do you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I do not have a presentation for this topic. We do have a grant that just does the design and the study for the Messick Point Breakwater. This will replace the 3 current wooden breakwaters that we have down there with a stone breakwater. The grant is $105,000. 90% or 90,000 is from FEMA, 10,000 is from VDEM, and another 5,000 is also from FEMA, but it's for the management of the project. I do plan to put that onto the engineering services contract as soon as we get the new one executed. Any questions?
Is there an opportunity for a follow-on grant for the next phase if the phase 1 is successful?
There is an opportunity for the next grant, and I do believe that is going to be similarly funded with the 90-10 between FEMA and VDEM. But I think, they want to see the final design and the final cost before they actually say yes to it. There is a stipulation of no ground disturbing activities during the study, so I have to be very careful about that.
What did you say the construction material was going to be?
Stone.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought that's what you said, wasn't you? Sure. I've gotten several complaints about the dock area being unprotected right now, so that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, council members? Paul, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
And I know you'll be right back with us for the next topic.
Yes, sir.
So we'll make it quick. So thank you. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose ordinance making a reimbursable appropriation for fiscal year 2026 in the general fund Messick Point Breakwater.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Mayor Hooks?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, by a vote of 6-0.
All right, thank you, Christie. All right, moving on to topic number 3 under item G, new business. This is a resolution officially canceling the Little Fall Road, Poquoson Avenue, Layden Way intersection project from VDOT Smart Scale. And city engineer, Mr. Paul Phelan, is back with us again. So, Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, council, staff, and guests. Is there a slide? One sec, please.
Thank you.
So we do have a slide for this one. This is just showing, this has already been approved I believe back in 21 it was. And the idea is that, you're going to change Laydon Way to make it line up with Poquoson Avenue and put in some medians there. At the time, that was estimated at $700,000. Current estimate is $975,000, which our portion would be $625,000. So at this point, VDOT's going to start their part of the project at the beginning of their next fiscal year, which I believe is October 1st. And if we either have to come up with our $625,000 by then or cancel the project. So at this point, I am looking to have council direct me to either find the funding for the project, or I also have a resolution in to cancel the project. Any questions?
No question, just a comment. It was back before your time when we planned this project, and I was looking so forward to a Buddy Green traffic circle there. And Buddy, if you're watching, I hope you know it's going to hurt me tonight to vote for this. I will vote for it, but I look forward to a Buddy Green traffic circle there.
Yes, sir.
A question, what's the current estimate you said was about 900 and some thousand? Was that just for the design and the phase one, or would that be from start to finish?
That would be start to finish.
Okay.
So I have a question, and I'm not sure if Randy, if you have some input on this as well. I'd welcome it for clarity for everyone, because this has been a project that has been wanted and for a long time, and VDOT, we haven't been able to get traction, and now we're looking at having to come up with funds that we can't. And so, like you, Bud, I'm very sad that this project is going to end up having to go the way it goes. Here's the question. What does the process look like at some point in our future to raise this up again? I mean, because we started this a long time ago, and now VDOT's like, okay, we can start. And we're like, great, we can't. So what does that look like? Can you talk to that, either one of you?
Sure, I can.
Thank you, Randy.
I was here when we began this process. So we applied for revenue sharing funds, which is a 50-50 match fund. It was approved. Council took a couple of votes on it. The last vote is reflected here. At the time, the local expense was $350,000. And VDOT's match does not escalate. And so when you ask for smart scale money or often revenue share money, it comes years out. Like if we had a smart scale project that was miraculously approved today, we would be 5 full fiscal years before it became available. So that's why, in 2026, we're talking about. Council members will recall, we've talked about this every year as we've gone up with the CIP and we've talked about sort of our plan. And this has always been a financial arbitrage, which is we either have to prioritize this and move forward with it or stand down. Our costs are going up, and as Paul said, come October 1st, VDOT will begin to spend money on this project, and if for any reason we're unable to proceed, then we will owe them for whatever monies they have spent. By standing down, it doesn't preclude us from asking again, but we would have to start that whole process over, which, if successful, would set us on another 5-year clock. So unless we got to the point that we wanted to do it with our own local funds only, at which point, if that was a high enough priority, we could proceed without VDOT. That's really the procedural step that has so much time in it, is the time between getting an approval from VDOT and the funds becoming available, which is typically 5 fiscal years.
Thank you for
That answers your
explaining.
question.
You absolutely did. I think that kind of clarity is important, and understanding that the weight of this is we are pushing this down at least 5 years, and some of us won't be around to see it happen. So it's weighty. I mean, I wish I could direct you to go find the money, but I can't. But I can't.
We made some improvements to the Poquoson Avenue, Little Florida intersection and Shipwreck Island, I believe, somewhere in this process too, didn't we?
Yes, sir. We made some changes to the pedestrian way across following an accident that happened a little bit, if that's oriented top to bottom, a little north from there. We have made some changes, but we have not realigned the intersection.
Any other questions or comments from council members? Good questions there. Randy, thank you for your explanation. Paul, thank you as well. It provides some excellent insight for the public. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose a resolution officially canceling Little Florida Road, Poquoson Avenue, Layden Way intersection project, VDOT Smartscape.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Mayor Hux.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion
Thank you, Christie. Moving on to topic number 4 under item G, new business. This is a resolution making an appointment to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose a resolution appointing Charles Coltrane to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. His term will expire on March 31st. Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Mayor Hux.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Christie. And we have here with us tonight Mr. Charles Coltrane. So, Charles, thank you for your willingness to serve, and congratulations on your appointment. Thanks. Yes, sir. Welcome. That concludes our new business. We'll move on to item H. We have a special presentation, and this is the city manager's recommended budget for fiscal year 27. And our city manager, Mr. Randy Wheeler, is going to provide us with that presentation. And if I could make just a few comments before Randy begins. This development of the budget is almost ongoing year-round. I mean, by the time we approve the budget for 1 year, shortly after that, staff starts with the development of the budget for the next year and making projections, planning. The staff as well as council always looks ahead, not only 1 year, but many years and even decades into the future as they're making preparations and developing the budget. Towards the end of the calendar year, that process becomes more focused, and even more so in January of the calendar year. Staff is hard at work with projections, monitoring what the General Assembly is doing in Richmond, plugging in the numbers as they become available into their equations. So I just cannot overstate the level of effort that Randy and Tanya and all the city staff put into this. In particular, thank you to our acting finance director, Ms. Robin Bellamy, who is also here with us tonight. But just want to give credit where credit's due. And council also provides input to staff, so they have an idea of what the priorities are as the budget is being developed. And Randy's going to talk a little bit about the pay increase that is proposed for not only city staff, but school staff as well. And the point I'd like to make with that is this pay increase does not include city council. So just want to let that sink in. The city council in Poquoson, we focus on the public service aspects of it, and without exception, all of us, and this has been a tradition that has been long-standing in Poquoson and continues to today. City council members serve for what we can give, not for what we can get. And we take great pride in that. So just wanted to make that clear that this proposed pay increase does not include city council. And this is not something that gets talked about a lot. And if I didn't do what I do, I wouldn't be aware of this either. But the compensation for city council members in Poquoson is $100 a month. And that's before taxes. So after taxes are taken out, it equates to about $75 a month to serve. The mayor's position actually receives an extra $25 a month. So after taxes, it's about $100 a month. But again, we focus on what we can give and not what we can get. So with that, I'll turn it over to Randy for his presentation.
Thanks, sir. Right. So, your comments about planning sometimes decades in advance really, it hit a light bulb with me because I remember the first budget that I was here for 17 years ago. We were talking about the debt trough coming in 2029, and I've been around long enough to actually get there. So yeah, we really do that. So, as council knows, each year before we figure out where we may be able to go in the future, we take a hard look as to where we are and where we've been in the immediate past couple of years. Despite COVID, despite the economy being superheated at times, changes in federal priorities, our financial position remains very strong and actually strengthened over that period of challenge. One thing that is different this year, and you spoke to it, City Council had a budget retreat in February. That is not always an annual occurrence. And at that time, Council provided direction that the budget should be prepared, focusing on a 4% pay increase for our employees, including school employees. And so this budget reflects that all the way through, and I'll highlight the details of that as we go forward. So I've spoken to some of these things, but they're the usual things, but there are also some additional things. And the additional things, the significant headwind, the ever-increasing impact of the tax exemption programs, I have a slide or two on that in a couple. We continue to be in a competitive hiring market and retention market, and no matter how hard we swim at this, we always seem to get outpaced by others, and that is still true. The school board, with your help, was able to make some significant headway this year, but now their challenge is maintaining that position. And on the local government side, we've still got some catching up to do. We saw, as you know, a much larger than anticipated increase in health insurance rates this year. Over the next 9 months, we'll be examining other options for health care. The rate of increase exceeding 19% is unsustainable over time, so we have some work to do there. And schools contributions and support of our school system continues to be a significant issue for us, and I'll talk more about that. So as we go through the budget, this is sort of our cornerstone on how we start. We always try to limit our new initiatives because there's never enough money to do the things we feel like we have to do. So we don't really get to the things that we wished we could do very often in the city of Poquoson. We use the best information that we have, recognizing that we don't have a crystal ball on the economy. Impacts at the federal level do affect us. Impacts at the state level affect us in terms of how the state government will support us, but also their support of the school system, constitutional officers, and others. As council is aware, for almost every year that I can remember lately, the General Assembly is still not done with the budget. I remember a time in Virginia where that was not the case. We do what we can to maintain stable property tax rates. We focus, as I said before, on existing services because we don't have the budget flexibility to make too many investments in new things. And lastly, and always, we use the City Council's adopted financial guidelines as the bedrock of all of our work going forward. So everything that you see in this budget starts with adherence to your financial policies. So 2027, the fiscal year we're about to go into, is not a reassessment year. I just footnote that because every other year in Poquoson it is. We have significant new growth still from new development. I had hoped to be able to present a budget that did not have a tax rate increase recommendation in it, but in keeping with the instructions that you all provided at your budget retreat, and you may recall, we talked about needing potentially a 4 to 6 cent tax increase to facilitate that direction. We're very pleased that we've been able to reduce that to 1. We would like, obviously, to reduce that to 0, but this budget does contain a 1 cent tax increase. A couple of things to highlight. We continue to have a very large and increasing tax exemption program for the disabled veterans. There's also a small local program, and the real estate exemption programs themselves are equivalent to 9.5 cents on our tax rate next year. I've got a chart that will show that in a minute. In personal property, which is vehicles and the like, the rate remains the same. We've not adjusted the rate for that the entire time I've been here. However, I did want to point out that in addition to the real estate tax exemptions, fairly recently the General Assembly added some veterans, disabled veterans, personal property as well. So take those two together. You see the line down at 400,000. You combine that with the real estate, and you're about 11 cents on the tax rate. Is the impact of that? Here's the graphic depiction of that. It's hard to see for those that are interested. The budget is available online. It's available at the library and the city manager's office and finance if you'd like to see it. I apologize. There's really no way to make this much better, but what you see there, and if I can read my color coding from here, that would probably help. But the green is the largest disabled veterans, the real estate program, and you see how that's gone from a couple of $100,000 to closing in on $2 million. The orange is the local option program that you all have had for the elderly and for disabled folks, and that number has been relatively similar the whole time I've been here. It hasn't changed very much. And then you see the blue additions is the personal property ones, and when you roll that all up together, it's $2,754,000 of tax exemption, which again is 11 cents on the tax rate. I'm not going to spend too much on time on this because I've already talked about it, but I did want to mention, again, there are no significant new initiatives or positions in the city budget. There is a small initiative for police department accreditation, and it is the only thing that even remotely would qualify as a new initiative in the city's budget. The total cost of that is about $17,000. And I just want to highlight again, not only are we waiting to see what the governor will do and maybe has done today, this is her day to sign or veto or mark up bills, but the state budget itself hasn't even made it out of the General Assembly yet. So both we are vulnerable to that, as well as the school system. You know, they modeled their budget on outgoing Governor Youngkin's budget, and they're waiting for a General Assembly budget to to narrow it in, and then one to be finally approved by Governor Spanberger. And those two most important steps have not yet happened. But despite that, we have a budget that we need to prepare and to make some decisions on the next month. So we've always divided our budget up into strategic focus areas, which are similar to the strategic initiatives that Council identified in its retreat. They're presented in 1 through 5, but they're not in any particular order. The first, though, is education. We start with education in the city of Poquoson. School board requested an increase from you all of close to $1.1 million. Coming out of the retreat and the guidance we received from you there, we calculated that and we were able to provide and recommend to you to support your direction at the retreat, an allocation of an additional $1.017 million for next year, in hopes that the school board would use it in accordance with the intention of City Council, at least as articulated at your retreat, of a 4% pay adjustment for school employees. Unlike for the public, the City Council does not set school employee salaries. That is the responsibility and authority of the school board. As we talked about, it's based on Governor Youngkin's budget. They do propose a small adjustment in the ADM, which is the average daily membership. That is a key factor in what the in the amount of state aid that we get. An even bigger factor is the local composite index, listed here as LCI. What you need to know about that is the smaller the number, the smaller the percentage of what the state would consider the basic standards of quality school budget the locality needs to pay. And it ranges anywhere from 20% up to 80%. But from a year to year, or an every other year, because it's a 2-year calculation, the relative change is the thing that really gets your attention. Our composite index is increased about 3.5 points. That turns into, according to the superintendent, about a $750,000 dent in school funding for education from the state. And so that's, along with the tax exemptions, we got about $3.5 million worth of headwind in this budget that we've had to work our way through. I would say, and Council's aware of this, only one other locality on the peninsula had their LCI go up. It was the city of Newport News. It was, if memory serves, about 0.75%. All of the other school systems on the peninsula had their composite index go down, which means that the state share of their basic SAQ budget will go up. There is, just as a footnote, no additional major funding for school debt planned in next year's budget. We've done what we can up till now, and we're gonna need to pause on some things to sort of let this financial challenge that we have sort of work its way out. Focus 2, public safety. Council will recall a year and a half or so ago, you implemented a pay plan for our public safety folks, and that is it's fully funded. Again, in this budget recommendation, in addition to that, is a 2% cost of living adjustment. So that's a 4% overall for our folks in public safety. Just a reminder, for our budget is, we have the core budget, which is us, and then we have a lot of other things that we support. And one of those, the biggest, is our school system, but we also have a shared services agreement with York County for the sheriff's office and the clerk of the court. As examples, we work with animal control in Newport News, not only do our animal control, but our animal sheltering. We are a partner in the Virginia Peninsula Regional Jail and the Juvenile Detention Commission. So these are change numbers. These are not the full numbers. The full numbers are in your budget document. Quality of life, we're in focusing on the compensation initiative the council articulated as a retreat. We haven't been able to add much in the way of additional new quality of life initiatives. However, we are in the final stages of completing the design for both the Upper Little Florida sidewalk project and also the Upper Poquoson Avenue sidewalk project, both of which should be completed in this fiscal year in terms of the design. This budget recommends a series of strategies to put together the budget to complete the first project. It is a combination of money that you've already appropriated for sidewalks, plus some VDOT money, which is eligible for sidewalks and roadside drainage. And then we are working with both Congressman Whitman and Senator Kane's office pursuing a federal special project designation and allocation for the Poquoson Avenue project. We expect to hear back from that prior to October the 1st. And that's part of the federal appropriation process. So to the extent that that gets delayed or has a continuing resolution, we may have to wait longer. Excuse me a second. Strategic focus area 4 is quality of services. As we've talked about, we've chosen not to focus on new things, but rather investments in the folks that provide the quality of services that we have now. So consistent with your retreat guidance, there is a 2% COLA for the general workforce, as well as a 2% merit for all the non-public safety folks, because those folks are on the STEP plan. So in the end, everybody sees a 4%. I started with this, and I'll sort of end this section with this. Fiscal stability is really important. We try mightily to not create future problems in solving short-term problems. Our financial position remains strong through this. Our bond rating remains with S&P at the AAA level. This budget conforms to all of your financial policies. Your general fund balance exceeds your minimum guidelines. As you are aware, we have a fiscal stability fund, which in 2024, Council made its latest deposit into of $1.2 million, and earlier in this fiscal year, Council took action to establish a special reserve for what would be intended a middle of a budget year for the disabled veterans tax exemption, which, as you saw from that graph, no matter how much we projected going up, we have seen it has overperformed. And so we've built in, with your help, a circuit breaker on that, at least for 1 year, to give us time to reprioritize. So I'll go quicker now. So the overall general fund budget is increased with this recommendation a little bit over 4%. This is what it looks like. If you have interest in any of this, the budget document really has a whole lot more details than this chart can show. And I know it's hard to read, but the dark blue color, that is our general property taxes, and you'll see that is about 3/4 of the pie there, and then that's where all the rest of it comes from. And one thing I would like to just point out for the public, it's the third from the bottom line, that federal revenue. That's how much federal revenue support the city of Poquoson, not counting the school system, gets on a routine basis, not counting the occasional grant. And so it's really the state government as a junior partner, but really we're our own senior partner in that. The expenditures, again, I know it's hard to see, but the Orange is education. Keep in mind that that is only the local portion. The school board appropriates its state and federal monies. So that's our portion. Our public safety is green. And then the top piece, I know it's hard to see, but it says transfer out school debt. That is the debt service that we pay outside of the contribution to the school division to support all of the debt, including the most recent debt that you undertook at your last meeting. This is our budget, similar to the school's budget, is very personnel heavy as a percentage of our budget. About $17 million is directly for personnel related expenses. That does not count the money that also goes to the schools. The increase is a little over $1.2 million. And what made that significant this year, again, was the increase in our health insurance, which was at a rate none of us could have expected, and also complying with the guidance that we received from the retreat. You take those two, you roll it together. We were fortunate that our retirement rates actually went down this year, so that helped offset the cost somewhat. That's an every other year rate set by the Commonwealth of Virginia for us. And anyway, that number is larger than normal because of primarily the insurance. It's nearly $600,000 is what we're talking about. So there's lots of ways to look at the budget. And so I'll go back to that idea that we're largely about people. 41% of our budget is personnel expenses. But if you take out the transfer to the schools and the monies to York County and 911 center and the jail and stuff like that, our general fund expenses are more than 75% personnel related. I've already talked to the fact that our VRS rate actually went down. That actually helped. It also helped the school system manage their budget expenditures as well. They also saw a reduction. Just want to give you a little bit of context about. We often talk about how much something is changing, but this is the amount of money that we're talking about transferring to the schools. You can sort of see where we are, and when you add in the debt service, it's a little bit of 41% or so of our general fund expenditures. This is the school board's adopted budget. Just it's here for your reference. It's also available on the school's website if you'd like to see it. That's the totality of the school's budget for next year. That includes their recommendation or their request from City Council, again, of almost $1.1 million increase. Doesn't include the debt service, which we carry on our side of the ledger for their property. You see, once again, their increase projections in students. I'm hopeful that the final number may be a little bit higher than that, but you will recall last year when we met with the school board and the superintendent said, I won't quote it exactly right, but I think he said there were 7 jurisdictions in Virginia whose school had at least an increase of 1 the previous year. So we are bucking the trend there a little bit. And the school board's budget as adopted by them in the form of a request to you is about 55%. From the state, we're at 41%, and their percentage of federal money is larger than ours, but 3.3% is really not very much. And there are lots of reasons for that, but some of the folks that the school board competes with for salaries for new teachers and teacher retention, they have a much higher federal number, meaning that and often a more favorable LCI, their community's share of the overall school budget is lower. A few things, and I'll be finished. At your next meeting, we will have a budget work session. We are also planning to have a joint session with the school board. That evening, there will be the required public hearing on the budget and proposed tax rate. The budget is scheduled for adoption May the 11th, and we stand by to assist you by adding as many additional work sessions between the 27th and the 11th, or shortly after the 11th, as you may require. As stated previously, this budget is available online in our library, in the manager's office upstairs, and the finance office. And with that, that concludes my presentation, sir.
Randy, thank you very much. Well done as always. Council members, any questions or comments for the manager? Mr. Freeman?
It's just mostly a comment for the general public. People ask me frequently about the effect of the legacy build-up on our school system. And I was told 9. This says 8 students net for the entire year. So there's no or nearly no effect on our school system so far from legacy. And we're not getting to the point where we're overcrowded in our schools. We really need more students. Just wanted to make that.
Thank you. It's a good point to be made, and I can remember from my days on the school board, the last year I was on the school board was in 2016, and thinking back on that, if my memory holds true, in 2006, we had peak enrollment at about 2,602 students. And my last year on the school board in 2016, a decade had passed. And by that time, we were down to about 2,032. So over a decade, we had seen a reduction in enrollment by about 600 students. To the point that back in 2011, 2012, we're actually looking at closing a school. For a school system that has or had 2,600 students, to lose 600 of them, that's a whole school building full of students for us. But the decision was made not to consolidate the schools, not to shutter a building, and to go ahead with the middle school modernization, which started in earnest in 2013. It was a 10-year process which actually completed in 2023. And it's been a tremendous improvement, and so thankful that we were able to do that. But, another decade has passed since 2016, and our enrollment has only increased slightly from about 2,032 or so. This year we're projecting that ADM, which is enrollment, to about 2,067, I believe. So we're about where we were 10 years ago. And to give you an idea of the impact of that, this year each student equates to $7,500 of tax support from mostly the state and a little bit from federal. So do the math on that, $7,500 per student. Suppose we had those 600 students back. Look at the millions of extra dollars that we would have coming into the school system. So that's an issue that we're working with, and that was among the main driving forces, if not the main driving force, for the approval of the Legacy project back in 2015. So many people don't realize how long ago that was actually approved, and the reason behind that, it was to provide housing for families with school children. And the Weldon Cooper Center in Charlottesville, which is the state agency that does the projections, they projected that when Legacy was built out, and we still got a ways to go, that the increased enrollment would be about 297 students. And we're a long ways away from that, but hopefully that will hold true when Legacy is built out. The final phase of Legacy involves the construction of the single-family homes, which is where most, in theory, most of the the students would live. So hopefully that will hold true. And to Mr. Freeman's point, we've got lots of room from a facility standpoint. Even when we were at peak enrollment in 2006, we were still not at capacity then. We still had room for a couple hundred more students at that time. So where we are now, we got lots of room. Of course, we would need more staff, but from a facility standpoint, we have lots and lots of room for growth. Another way to look at where we are with the legacy, even though it hasn't resulted in the projected enrollment increases yet. Another way to look at it is if we didn't have the legacy, then the extra few students that we have realized, we probably wouldn't have those and would probably be significantly less than where we are now. So it's still resulting in a positive effect for us so far as the school enrollment goes. So just wanted to elaborate. Thanks for setting me up, Mr. Freeman, but that's some excellent points to be made on that.
I got one other comment as well. Well, go ahead, Jeannie.
Well, thank you. And this is a question for you, Randy. If you could just reiterate, when you use big words that my pea brain isn't always all that good at understanding, when you say the 11 cents on our tax rate is for the unfunded mandates related to property tax and real estate tax. And, you know, I'm the granddaughter of a veteran, the daughter of a veteran, the spouse of a veteran, and the military is what brought us here, and it's what made my parents want to stay here and retire here. And so Poquoson has probably a disproportionate number of wonderful people who've given service to our country. However, the reality of that, and this is what I need your help on. So 11 cents of the $1.14 current?
I would say it this way. If we didn't have any of those programs, which also includes our local option program, then our tax rate to do the exact same government would be 11 cents lower.
11 cents lower. So we as a community share in that benefit to our veterans who have been, who are part of those programs. And, you know, we are all touched in many ways by the military. Just as we're here for the schools, we're here because the military brought many of us here. And so I just want to recognize that as a community, when you have an unfunded mandate, it only is unfunded to some of us. The rest of us have to pick that up. And you're saying it's 11 cents on your money, on your taxes, your taxes, your taxes, your taxes, your taxes, your taxes, and mine, and all y'all. So we share that. And that's the reality that we choose to live in because we live in this wonderful town. And even though unfunded mandates are no fun.
Yes, ma'am. You articulated it absolutely correctly. And I just hope it doesn't get lost in the message. The difficulties and the fiscal impact of this, it's not talking negatively about the program.
Right.
But the state made some decisions that affect us, and we could really use their help in offsetting some of the cost, as they help offset some of the cost with roads and schools and other things. And that is what we have been trying with our delegation, with our regional partners, our state partners, to build some momentum around that. I think we'll get there. I think it's more fiscal years, but I think we'll get there.
So the bottom line to that is when you have an unfunded mandate, and you learn so much when you sit over here, right, guys? Because you're touching it much more closely. I mean, I think I knew what an unfunded mandate was before, but it touches you differently when you're reading it and being asked to sign your name on something that says you're approving it, right? And in this case, you know, it's wonderful that our veterans, our disabled veterans, the people who qualify for these programs can, but when the state says this is going to happen,
they don't offer any money to pay for it. It's not coming out of their budget. It's coming out of your pockets, okay? So that's what unfunded mandate means, and that's the impact to us. And again, we live in this community. We share in this burden. But that's why unfunded mandates are something that you know, when you're asked to vote on a new program, think about it. Thank you. That's it. I'm pontificated enough.
Jeannie, thanks again for setting me up for that, for this as well. If I can elaborate just a little bit, this unfunded mandate goes back to a state referendum in 2010. This community is a very patriotic community. Just a few examples of that are the Memorial Day service that we have, the Veterans Day service that we have out front of City Hall, and in addition to the military memorial that we have to pay tribute to our veterans that have sacrificed their lives for the freedoms and liberties that we so enjoy. But back in 2010, when the referendum was held, if memory holds true, this community voted about 86% in support of that referendum. And I remember personally voting for it. We certainly believe in the program. We support the program. But since it's an unfunded state mandate, we believe that the state should be helping the localities to offset the effects of it. And like the manager mentioned just a minute ago, we're working with our state delegate, state senator, as well as coordinating throughout the Hampton Roads region, and we've expanded that to coordinate with other regions throughout the state, especially the ones that are most affected up the I-95 corridor all the way up to the Washington, D.C. area. And I can also assure you that coordination at the regional level was initiated upstairs in the conference room of the Poquoson City Manager's office. So that's just another example of this little city, use one of the manager's terms, punching above our weight class. And even though we're small, this little city leads at the state level often. So very thankful to be able to do that. Just wanted to shed some light to provide a little bit more insight as into where we stand on this. And also with the $2.7 million that the manager spoke to, combined with the $750,000 hole in the school's budget because of the increase in the LCI that we have no control over, and the $563,000 increase in employee health insurance benefits, the cost to the city, that's about $4 million of headwind that staff is faced with when they're starting this budget development process. And to be able to get to this point and provide the benefits that's proposed for our employees at the cost of a 1 penny tax rate increase by the grace of God is nothing short of miraculous. So I cannot overstate the credit that staff deserves for being able to come up with this. And just to quantify a little bit more, the average home price in the city of Poquoson is $450,000. This 1 penny tax rate increase equates to less than $4 a month. Just let that sink in as well. Less than $4 per month for the average homeowner of $450,000. Of course, some will be more, some will be less. But for that increase, which is very minor, we can provide a 4% pay increase for our employees and school employees too, is our. So just want to be able to elaborate on that a little bit and quantify. And Mr. Freeman, you had another comment as well?
Well, Councilwoman really summarized what I was going to say anyway. I was going to add just a little bit to get this benefit. the law requires that you're 100% disabled. And I think that these people deserve everything that we can give them, but it's really hard on our city budget. And a lot of the wounds that someone in combat suffers are not visible to you. And you say, well, it looks like a normal person to me just walking up and down the street. But you don't know what they have to do to get there to walk them down the street. And like I say, it's killing our budget. But I think that 100% of those people absolutely deserve it. And it's just kind of more of what you said.
Well, thank you, Mr. Freeman. And for everybody watching, everybody here tonight that might not know, those comments are coming from Councilman Kerry Freeman, who retired from the United States Air Force after 25 years, I believe. He's a combat veteran. He flew B-52s over North Vietnam back in the mid-1960s when I was a baby in diapers in the comfort and safety of my parents' home. So just one example of the caliber of the people that I have the privilege of serving alongside of. So to hear those comments from somebody like Mr. Freeman, it carries a tremendous amount of weight. And I do take issue with one comment from Councilwoman Hubbard when she referred to her own pea brain. I adamantly disagree, and for all those that might not be aware, that is Councilwoman Dr. Jeannie Hubbard. So I wouldn't think anybody with a PhD has a pea brain, so just respectfully disagree with your assessment of yourself and recognizing your modesty and humility. So, and you're also one of the people I have the privilege to serve alongside of. So, council members, any other questions or comments? All right, very well. Thank you, Randy and staff, for a job well done. And with that, the presentation will be closed. And just to remind everybody again, as Randy had commented on, 2 weeks from tonight, on April 27th, will be our second reading of the proposed budget. Also be our public hearing for the budget, and we'll have the joint work session with the school board. So we'd encourage everybody to tune in, or even better, come in and sit in with us as the public's business. So we'll move on now to item I, which is comments of the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, I think you've heard enough from me, so I'm gonna defer.
Okay, thank you, Randy. And we'll move on to our council directives. Jeannie?
But I always have more to say. Tonight I want to pause for just a moment and offer some Thanksgivings. This week our community really felt some losses. We remember Margie Wissinger and Sandra Barnes. These are two women who are mothers of fellow classmates from the class of '87 who passed this past week. And the memorial service for Margie was yesterday, and Sandra will be tomorrow. They've impacted so many lives in Poquoson. And growing up in this community, I am forever reminded at these events how much we're more than just people who, run into each other at Food Lion or at church. We love each other. At both events, I became a grandmother today for the first time. And at those events, when people are hugging and offering condolences, and at the same time knowing and loving you and welcoming in the next generation, which I hope to bring back into Poquoson, this is a special community, and I want my grandkids to be raised here. And I want, when my time comes, for as many people to remember me for the way I've loved this town as the way that Margie and Sandy have been remembered by this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie, and congratulations on becoming a grandmother.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
First time.
Yes. Angie?
I just want to reiterate, so Randy mentioned that the proposed financial plan is available on the website. You can come over, see a physical copy at the library, I believe. I really encourage everyone just to take a few moments and read through, especially the introduction and the budget interview. It gives you so much context and really helps paint the picture. And I think this entire financial plan, the way it's put together, and just the graphs in it and the charts and how it's broken up is really readable for a layperson like myself to go through it and at least have some sort of understanding. So I do encourage you between now and the next couple of weeks, if you have a chance to take a look at it and kind of learn the context of it. It's very, very helpful.
Thank you, Angie. Mr. Sallow?
Well, as always, I'm going to run my mouth just a little bit, okay? First off, I'd like to thank everyone who came out here tonight. Really appreciate you attending. Invite your friends. More people should pay attention to the city government. Also attention to the state government and the federal government. I'd also like to thank the people who are at home listening. Invite your friends to turn on their TV sets or come out to the city and pay attention to what's happening. One of the things I really hate, and I'll get back to other, is that when people complain about something that happened, and it happened a year or two ago, it was discussed in public in these very chambers many times, and then they say, well, I didn't know that. And I don't like that. Come pay attention to what we're doing, okay? So you're aware of what we're doing when we do it, not 2 or 3 years later and then don't like it. Know why we did it. I made a comment week before last, and I apologized last week that I hate politicians, okay? And so last week I apologized for saying I hate politicians, okay? But what I did say is I hate it when elected officials, because Carrie reminded me, we weren't necessarily politicians, we were elected officials by the citizens, and we are elected to represent the citizens. What I do hate is when the elected officials act like politicians and do things for political parties instead of for the citizens of Virginia or the citizens of Poquoson. That doesn't happen in Poquoson. We always look after the citizens of Poquoson. But there's an election going on right now, and it's not for the benefit of the citizens of Virginia or the benefits of a political party. I urge everybody to vote. Again, I'm going to vote no, okay? I think everybody should consider what they're going to vote, but everybody should vote. Congratulations on your grandbabies. They're more fun than your kids.
Thank you, Mr. Sallow. Mr. Freeman?
One other comment.
Yes, sir.
Kerry Freeman said last meeting, that he did not intend to run for election again. Okay? He's done a great service for this city. I also do not intend to run next time for election.
And you both have done great service to the city.
I've done what I've done.
I think between the two of you, y'all have about 46 years combined. Several decades.
David, like I tell many people, okay, my brain still thinks I'm 27. My body knows its real age, and my heart thinks it's 140. Okay, so there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Sallow. Mr. Freeman?
I don't have anything else.
Debbie?
I would like to thank the Poquoson Exchange Club and Jessica Adams for coming out tonight and for bringing awareness to Child Abuse Prevention Month and putting those reminders around in the city for all to be reminded. And also, I would like to say congratulations to Mr. Charles Coltrane, who was appointed to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board this evening. Thank you for your willingness to serve in that capacity. And would also like to thank Mr. Bob Shera, who held a position on the board since February 1996. He was not reappointed at this time, but someone who served over 30 years in a position, I think they deserve to be recognized, and really want to thank him for serving that amount of time. It is an undertaking for our citizens when they serve on, boards and commissions, the time, the commitment, and it is appreciated. And any time that anyone's interested in serving on a board or commission, you can go to our website and you can see what's available, and it's very user-friendly to put in an application. And if you have any questions about any of the boards and commissions, you can also call the city manager's office, and they're very help you and answer any questions. So thanks to all, and thanks all to all who are here tonight, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. And wanted to thank Miss Alicia Barefoot and Miss Jen Canella for their IT support. Ladies, couldn't have the meetings without y'all, so we very much appreciate that. And also wanted to give a shout out to two very special members of staff and council who weren't able to be here tonight. I'd like to do this because it's a very rare occasion for us to have absences, but just want to give a shout out to our assistant city manager. I know she's watching from home, Miss Tanya O'Connell. Look forward to having her back at the next meeting. And Councilman Keith Fye, he is out of state tonight taking care of family. And with his level of dedication and Tanya's level of dedication, I just want to give a special shout out to Tanya and Keith, and remind them how much we miss them, how much we appreciate them, and look forward to having them back with us at the next council meeting. And want to thank in advance our city attorney, Mr. Wayne Moore. He's going to give us some legal counsel in just a few minutes when we go into closed session. So, Mr. Moore, thank you in advance for your guidance and your constant oversight. Always much appreciated. So, with that, we'll move on to item K on our agenda, which is a closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia from 1950, as amended, to consult with the city attorney pertaining to pending litigation. We have a motion.
So
and a
moved,
second.
Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Mayor Hoax?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you. We're now in closed session. All right, we will move on to item L on the agenda, which is reconvenement and certification of the closed session. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I move to propose a regulation that we only talked about what we said we were going to talk about and didn't talk about any other stuff.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Christie?
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman, Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mayor Hucks.
That's close enough. Aye.
First among equals.
Thank you, Christie.
You're welcome.
And with that, we'll move on to item M, adjournment. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Christie.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Mayor Hucks. Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Christie. We are adjourned.